This is Nomination Day in Guyana, and this is the newsroom's live coverage of that Nomination Day activity. We are here at the Umana Yana in Georgetown, and we just witnessed the Partnership for National Unity submitting its list of candidates to the Guyana Elections Commission to contest in the September 1st, 2025 elections. As we await the next political party to submit their list here to the Guyana Elections Commission, we just want to give you some updates. I know you've been hearing about list of candidates all morning. So just to break it down for you, let's explain what the list of candidates are and why political parties are required to submit that list to the Guyana Elections Commission. Names of persons who will be contesting in the elections and representing those parties based on the seats that they will win based on the votes cast. Representatives will be taken from the list submitted to the Guyana Elections Commission to fill seats in the 65-seat National Assembly, and then there are also seats to be filled on the regional democratic councils, since these are general and regional elections. The representatives for the National Assembly will be pulled from a top-up list that the party will be submitting to the Guyana Elections Commission, and then there will be another list that the parties will submit for their regional officials. Let me just say that if a party is contesting in these elections, it does not mean that the party will be contesting in all regions. However, GECOM has a requirement that the parties must contest in at least 6 regions to be eligible to be allowed in and to make its way onto the ballot in these general and regional elections. Even though I'm saying six regions, it doesn't mean that the party could, let's say, for instance, compete in regions 1 to 6. Those 6 regions must tally and add up to, I think it's somewhere around 13 seats. Once that is done, the parties are allowed to, will have their list approved. But that's not the only basis on which lists of candidates will be approved by the Guyana Elections Commission. There are other bases which include a number of signed nominators who will be backing the candidates on the list that will be submitted to the Guyana Elections Commission. The persons will also have to be Guyanese. There is also an age requirement, and there's also requirement in terms of balance, in terms of how many women are included on the list. We have several parties already contesting the elections, but submitting their list of candidates today does not automatically mean that they will find their way onto the ballot. There is a process from today where there will be a verification of that list. Parties will be asked to correct any defects that the Guyana Elections Commission find on those lists. Specifically, persons backing candidates, which are referred to as nominators, and or those very candidates on these political parties' lists, they are not allowed to be on more than one list, so the Guyana Elections Commission will also be checking for that. We have somewhere until the 23rd of July, after today, the 14th, when we will go through all of these steps. Political parties will also have an opportunity to go to the courts if they so require to have an input on any defects that GECOM finds on their list. And once all of that is done and the lists are corrected for any defects that GECOM finds, those political parties will be notified. The list will be published by the Guyana Elections Commission, and they will find their way on the ballot for the September 1st, 2025 elections. We're still bringing you live coverage from the Umana Yana here in Kingston, Georgetown. As I said, it is Nomination Day in Guyana ahead of those crucial September polls, and we are awaiting the next political party to make its way here to the Umana Yana and submit the list to the GECOM officials waiting in the compound at the Umana Yana. Earlier, we made our way around the city where we engaged with some of those political parties who were assembled at different points, and they are all done in the party's colors. They are waving flags, music blaring, and they are really setting a charged political atmosphere here in the capital city for these nomination day activities. not unlike what we've since the. But we will continue to bring you live coverage here from the Umana Yana as the day's activities unfold.
Great people like us standing for this nation. I'm so proud of you. I want to say,
we support you as well. And we will be contesting this together. And we will make sure that we're all there in the National Assembly together.
Yes! That's what the youth we were talking about your list a short while ago. You're talking about that.
Yeah, I answered the question about the list before I can do that.
Yes.
You're asking me if there are new names in the list?
Yes.
We have a lot of new names in the list.
Not necessarily. We're looking at the composition of the district, 1/3 women.
Oh, we're better than that. We're close to 50%. And I will say this, anytime I am blessed to be elected as president, 50% of my cabinet will be women. 50 or above.
Young people?
Oh, young people, of course. Half of the women will be young and half of the men will be young.
Okay. What are your expectations today going in to present your list?
I don't know about expectations. What I can say is I hope GCOM changes its conduct from being unfair to at least having some semblance of fairness. As you know, they took a decision last week Thursday that the AFC was going to be the second party. They got a message and a photograph from a PPP member and they changed that decision. I don't know if any other political party has the power to change a GCOM decision just by sending a photograph which doesn't even show the APNU present. So all we can do is can hope. What I'm asking for is that our scrutineers be allowed to view the encoding, because you can receive the list in any order you want, but if you encode in a different way, it's a problem. So we are demanding that the scrutineers for all political parties, but particularly the AFC, because we have been the most discriminated against, that we are allowed to scrutinize the encoding process.
Could you tell us if you are competing in all 10 regions?
We are competing in all 10 regions in all 3 categories. We look forward to it. We're oversubscribed in almost every region. The AFC is back. This is the AFC of 2011. We are running alone, and we stand and fall by the results that we get.
Mr. Yusuf, your running mate?
I said earlier, we'll announce that before the end of the week. We have constitutional requirements within the party. The bodies have to deliberate and make recommendations and approve.
Yes, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
We are, as I said earlier, awaiting the arrival of the next political party to submit its list to the Guyana Elections Commission. That party is expected to be the incumbent People's Progressive Party, Civic, and they are more than likely making their way through the streets of Georgetown here to the Umana Yana in Kingston, where the list of candidates will be submitted to the Guyana Elections Commission.
Good morning, this is Vishani Raghavar again, and we're continuing our nomination day coverage here at the Umana Yana area in Kingston, Georgetown. And right now I have with me representatives of the United Workers Party. This is a new political party. Tell me a bit about your party, and maybe perhaps you can also tell me about the list that you're going to submit here today.
Well, first, it's a Labour Party, and we're not presenting a list. Our candidates are with on the Alliance for Change because of a shared vision between the AFC and the Workers' Party. We believe in fair wages for fair labour for the working class. So as a Workers' Party, we're also a Labour Party. And so we want to urge the working class of Guyanese to vote their way out of a minimum wage and into a living wage with the Alliance for Change and the Workers' Party.
So I didn't get this out of the way first, but tell me your name and your role in the party.
I'm General Secretary and founder of the United Workers' Party.
Okay, and your name is?
Sherwin Delano Downer.
Okay, Mr. Downer, you spoke a bit about why you decided to start this party. You really want to focus on workers' rights and advocating for workers. Tell us a bit about the formation party. When was it formed and who else is part of your party?
Well, for those who don't know, I'm a trade unionist who transitioned into politics. I'm the president and founder of the National Mine Workers Union, the first union that was at Guyana Goldfield, which is now AGM. And so when the union was formed in 2014, I told the members that there's coming a day when I will form a political arm of the party, which is called United Workers Party. And today that is a reality.
Okay.
Yeah.
And have you formally joined with the AFC? As in, is this a joiner list arrangement?
No, there's no join the list arrangement. I will tell you this, I'm not a candidate on the Alliance for Change, but my members are. Our candidates, we share the list, but there's no arrangement in place. I am not on any political party's list.
But members of the United Workers Party
are candidates on the AFC's list.
I noticed that you did submit this symbol to the Guyana Elections Commission.
Yes.
So tell us about just going through these processes leading up to elections. What was that like for you?
I can say it was a learning experience and process, but on the day of submission of the symbol, I wasn't here. We had some other commitments in Essequibo, but someone else did it. Lorenzo Joseph, he's an executive member of the party from Linden. He did the submission for the symbol. I wasn't there.
And you tell me about who are some of the other persons in your party so that our viewers would get to know who might be persons representing persons advocating for their interests.
Well, I can tell you this, I have a lot of persons who wish not to be disclosed or their identity, but coming from the trade union movement, you know, in politics you have to belong somewhere. And when you want to go somewhere, you have to have a following. So coming from the trade union movement, I do have a lot of behind-the-scenes support. You know, with all of the discrimination and all of the victimizations happening in our country, and this is not confined to one party or one government. So there's a lot of trade unions that I've been consulting with behind the scenes, and I've been meeting with many workers from various work sites in pockets. And so they are pledging their support, right? So, but they will be voting for the Alliance for Change. Yeah.
Anything else you'd like to share with us?
Not at this time.
Thank you very much for your time. There you just heard from the United Workers Party, one of the parties that submitted its symbol to the Guyana Elections Commission. However, that party isn't submitting a list of candidates today. That party has thrown its support behind the Alliance for Change. Of course, we're continuing our nomination day live coverage here at the Umana Yana in Kingston, Georgetown. I'm Vishani Raghavar. Please keep following us.
all in excitement to see the party submit its list, to see the candidates who will be revealed on those lists become representatives in the National Assembly and representatives for